Alrighty. So today, our topic is going to be uh, injury, not management, but like prevention, I guess. Injury prevention. What we can do as not only like just what we can do. Uh, we'll talk about like injuries in here, but we'll also talk about like prevention of like injuries as you get older. Because as we get older, our muscles and our joints they don't work as well. That's just life. So, what we can do to sort of mitigate that and ensure that we stay as healthy as possible for as long as possible. Um, there's that saying, health is wealth. So, hopefully, this one will be something you guys can take with you and implement on a daily basis to ensure that you guys, one, don't get injured, and two, can live comfortably as you get older. But we got one more set of this weight. We already did one set, and we'll go do some flies. It should be good. Alrighty. I didn't expect to get a lot. My body's sore from yesterday, regardless. Alrighty. Let's go do some flies. So, alrighty. I think the main thing I kind of want to cover for, at least when it comes to the gym and how to prevent injuries, is proper warm ups. I think what happens is a lot of people think, oh, wait, let me see if I'm even. Yeah, I'm fine. Okay. As a lot of people think that warm ups are what we're taught, and it's mostly just, it's not people's fault. I think it's because we're taught this in school. People think that like warm ups are like, stretches and all this stuff, Uh, no, warm ups should be something that do exactly what they say, right? They warm up the muscle in the joints that are going to be used during that exercise. For instance, I don't show them, but when I'm doing warm ups for my incline press, what I'll do is I'll take uh, lighter weights, somewhere around the 50s, and I will come all the way down and get as much of a stretch as I can. Why? Because I'm prepping my body for this movement. One, I'm prepping it for this movement so that it knows this is what we're going to be doing. And two, I am prepping the joints for something that is more extreme so that when I'm doing the range of motion, obviously I'm not coming like all the way back here, right? With the weights, this would be unreasonable. I'm doing a normal range of motion, but because I'm getting my body used to this like extreme thing, doing the normal range of motion is like nothing for my body. It's not registering as something that's, difficult. Um and I think this is where a lot of people have trouble is they tend to uh have like the sorry, where people tend to have a lot of trouble is when they're coming down, especially for weights or for movements that are kind of awkward when you're first starting out. Maybe movements that aren't as beginner friendly, like bench pressing, like squats. People have a lot of trouble with doing the full range of motion because their body isn't necessarily primed for it, right? It's you get to this point, and because your joints are something that your body needs, it starts sending those alarms to your head, like, wait a second, this is a lot of weight. This is a lot of weight. We need to stop. So it gets almost scary in a sense to do something with that much of a range of motion, even if it's the normal amount, right? That's why you see people all the time. They maybe some of it's ego, but a lot of time people only come to like here, right? When they go to do chest press, that you see them doing like three like quarter reps, right? Because their body isn't like doing the full thing is like such a foreign thing to their body that they don't even want to attempt it. It's too scary for them. And the same thing with squats, right? What I see is a lot of people when they do squats, they, for instance, say someone's doing squats and they have a bar on their back, what they'll do is they'll stop here, right? Like right before they're coming down, maybe past their midline. And why does that happen? Because people aren't used to, doing squats with weights on their back. Anyone can, like, if you were to tell anyone to do this, right, and just sit, they can do it perfectly fine when it's just their body weight. But because they have weight on their body, right, if they're new to it, it's like, whoa, now it's this whole new thing. So when we do our warm ups, we have to prime our body to doing reps that are, you know, a little bit maybe extreme, so that when we go into the movements that are heavier weight, or sorry, the sets that are heavier weight, um, we don't have to worry about range of motion being a problem because we already know that we've practiced such an extreme thing that the normal range of motion, it like, in all honesty, the normal range of motion is going to be something that is like, you're going to have to like, you're going to doubt that you're reaching it because you're like, I'm so used to doing such a long movement that like stopping it short in any way, shape, or form is going to be like, wait a second, was that depth? Was I doing it right? But that's what we want, right? We want to make sure that we're giving our body um sort of this like exposure to something that's a bit more extreme so that we can perform our movements safely and not have to worry about injuring our joints, especially because our joints are something that don't heal very well. You can do, you see it all the time with NBA players or whatever. They get like a joint injury, and people always say, "Oh, they're never going to be the same." Why? Because you can rehab it, right? You can do all these things to kind of ease the pain, but like your joints just don't heal back the same way as your muscles or your tissue does. You know. So we want to do as much as we can to prevent any form of injury towards those things. And you see it all the time with weightlifters. Shoulder injuries, uh, tearing of this tendon of the bicep tendon, tearing of the pec tendons. Uh, what's it called? Tearing of their like of the some people like will tear their meniscus because they do something wrong. So we have to really, really be careful with these, especially like our joints, because these things aren't something that we can get back, um, or we can rehab very well. Or we can rehab to the point where it is back to where it once was. So with that in mind, we want to expose it to slow exposure, guys. Is also something that I also want to cover. Don't think that you have to like pick up if you're someone that benches normally with the 70s or with the 60s, don't go and pick up the 50s, right, and do it. Pick a lightweight, something that's very, very easy for you to move around in your hands, and then do the workouts like that. Do the warm-ups with that. Um, and I guess like another principle you guys can adopt is like you can never warm up too much, right? I'd much rather warm up a little bit too much and maybe miss out on one rep than warm up too little and then go for a workout and then end up injuring myself because I just decided not to warm up. You can never be too safe. So, for this is a perfect example. I know that this is a very far range of motion, the pin is all the way at the back, other than, so there's like the pin in the very back, and then there's the pin right before that. This is where the pin is for me here. It's like the one right before it. And I know that this is in and of itself a very stretched movement. So I choose to use weight that is very, you know, it's not going to cause any stress. I can talk through it. Like it's not something that's extreme, but I am ensuring that my joints and my muscles understand, okay, this is what we are going to be doing, or this is potentially the range of motion that I'm going to be taking with this movement. And I'm prepping it. I'm making sure that it understands it, that my joints and my muscles are, warmed up. And then once I feel comfortable that I've warmed up, okay, now I'll go into my next set and I'll go into some heavier weight. And it all comes like this is why before in the beginner series, I told you guys that you're gonna have to like learn how to listen to your body. Um, it is very easy to let your pride take over, especially as a beginner, and say, "Oh, I want to pick up this weight," but sometimes it's just not your day. Sometimes your body is very tired. Maybe you've done a bit more walking than normal, or you've picked up. Say you're someone that has like a job with manual labor. Maybe you were exerting yourself a little bit much when you were over there. And as a result, it's going to affect your workout in some way. Um, you're not always going to be at your peak, and you have to be able to accept that. And so sometimes, it means you have to lower the weight, and that's okay. Though I like your body doesn't know what number is on this thing. And you may want to progress, but your body doesn't understand that this is this weight, right? It only knows that it's pushing itself, right? It's training hard. So as long as you're training hard and you're doing your best to push yourself in some way, then you're doing perfect. Like that's all you can ask of yourself. Don't be unreasonable and say like, "Oh, I'm just going to, throw myself into the deep end and hope that I swim." Like that's not a good idea. And it leads to injury more often than not. So, that's pretty good. I was not expecting to get that many wet reps, but that's good. Alrighty. One more off camera. Okay. I've been doing this machine uh more often just because I feel like it helps me with my form, one, and because I'm able to kind of push the weight a little bit more on this one, just because it forces me to keep my arms in a spot where I know they're supposed to be. So we got this, and then we go do some rows, and should be good. All right, let's go do some rows. Alrighty. So we got this and then some lat pull downs. We might end up trying the machine just because I want to see if I've made any improvements so far. But sorry, the cable machine, not the free weights. Well, we're gonna do a little bit less weight just because yesterday we did do deadlifts and my erectors are, in fact, sore. And I know that if I tried to do my normal weight, that I'm just gonna get like 2 reps. So. Yeah, it already hurts right here, bro. Yeah. I already knew this was going to be a bit of an ask regardless of the weight that I did. That's what happens when you do 500 pounds for more reps than normal. Alrighty. Let's go do some. We got one more set off camera and then lat pull downs. Alright, give me. I want you guys to give me some grace here. I have not done this machine in months. Or a month, I think. So I may, in fact, be rusty. That did not go in the right way. There we go. I wouldn't consider that an improvement. I did like 9. I mean, technically it is, but I don't know. I feel like I should have been easier. Could also just be that I'm sore and my body's tired from yesterday. Alrighty. One more off camera. Yeah. I'm only gonna do the one set here, just because I do need to get home. But let's finish up talking about our topic here. So, when we talk about outside of the gym, and that's too high. We want to talk more about like mobility and I guess like something that I would encourage you guys to do is stretching, a lot of stretching. And stretching in the sense where it's like you want to basically get as flexible as possible, because the more flexible you are, the less likely it is that you get injured doing something outside the gym. Maybe you like tweak something, or, but like majority of those injuries that occur outside the gym where you like tweak, maybe you tweak a muscle, or you tweak, a nerve, or sorry, you pinch a nerve. They happen because your body did something that it wasn't used to, like mobility wise. And we can avoid those things if we just simply take the time to stretch. Like after a workout, especially, it's super important that you do some form of mobility work, so that one, you don't get too tight, because and it'll help, like just in general with like your lifting. The less tight you are, like all around the, in your muscles and stuff, the easier you'll find it to push yourself. You won't be as uncomfortable, or you won't be uncomfortable when you're doing your work, your movements. But also just in like daily life, like when you get older, like you want to be able to avoid doing those, like, having those moments where you're like tweaking a muscle, or you stepped wrong or something like that, or you threw your back out. So stretching is super, super important. And getting your body used to those, like, almost like movements you don't necessarily always do all the time. And you can even apply like weight to certain stretches, so that your body like strengthens those tendons. And it ensures that you don't get injured in that sense. So, alrighty, we just got one here, and we'll go check things out. We'll be done for the day. Alrighty, let's go check things out. Alrighty, this is how we're looking today. If you did enjoy the content, or if it was helpful in any way, please drop a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.